Proverbs 8 verse 1 to 36 through the Bible. Chapter 8, Part 1. The young man has been examining the literature of the different colleges, and the school of wisdom and the school of fools are bidding for his application. In this chapter, it is wisdom that sends out an invitation to him with a note of urgency. Pressure is put upon the young man now. The school bell is going to ring before long, and they want this young man enrolled. Wisdom calls to the young man. Doth not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice? Proverbs 8 verse 1. As we have seen, the young man has been lured and enticed to leave the school of wisdom. Believe me, the cults and isms are out on the streets and ringing doorbells. God's people should be out doing the same thing. I am very thankful for the very fine organizations that especially work with the young people today. They are out ringing doorbells. They are out doing personal witnessing. That's good. Wisdom and understanding should be putting forth their voice. She standeth in the top of high places, by the way in the places of the paths. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors. Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man. Proverbs 8 verse 2 to 4. This is what we are trying to do by radio. We are sending out a call to come to the school of wisdom. We want you to come to wisdom in the person of Christ. It is Christ who has been made unto us wisdom. O ye simple, understand wisdom, and ye fools, be ye of an understanding heart. Proverbs 8 verse 5. Are you willing to take that position, to admit that you are not adequate, to say you are a sinner and that you really don't have intellectual problems? Sometimes I think it is a joke to listen to folk with intellectual problems. A young fellow came to me and said, I have intellectual problems about the Bible. Do you know what he really had? He had a sin problem, and he didn't want to give up his sin. I have discovered that if a person has a sin problem and will turn to Christ with that problem, it is amazing how often the intellectual problems will be solved. Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things. Proverbs 8 verse 6. What a picture we have here. For my mouth shall speak truth, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There is nothing froward or perverse in them. Proverbs 8 verses 7 and 8. Many people talk about errors and problems in the Bible. There are several books written about problem scriptures. I recognize that to an intelligent person, there are problems in the Bible. I had a lot of problems with the Bible at the beginning of my study, and I still have a few. But the problem is not in the Word of God. The problem is in the mind and heart of man. God says there is nothing twisted or perverse in the words of wisdom. They are all plain to him that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge. Proverbs 8 verse 9. You see, if it is really wisdom, it is going to be simple, and it will appeal to the simple. I'm thankful that God did not make the gospel appeal only to folk who have a high IQ. If he had, many folk would be left out completely. This is a message to the simple, and it really is a simple message. It is very interesting that some things which men call deep and profound are not really that at all. When I went through school, I had the viewpoint of a lot of other young fellows that I knew it all. We had a brilliant man come to lecture at our seminary. I'll be very frank with you. He was speaking right over the top of my head. I went to the man who was considered the most brilliant professor in the school and said, I'm not getting very much out of those lectures. I must confess that they are over my head. I always had the viewpoint that I could understand anything that any man had to say, but I am not getting what he is saying. I shall never forget his answer. He said, Mr. McGee, you know that when water is clear, You can see right to the bottom of the pool, even if it is 60 feet deep, but when the water is muddy, you can't even see to the bottom of a hoof print in the middle of the road. Some men are not deep. They are muddy. Well, that answered it for me. My friend, if you have an intellectual problem with something you read in the Bible, let me be very frank with you. The problem is not with the Bible. The problem is with you.